even it's 12. Good morning, everyone. We gathered here for this quite interesting, a little bit side, but really important subject about like it is hard enough to make it in this business, even in the different roles like management, or if you're an artist or promoter or whoever you are in this business, it is quite hard. It is quite hard to make it. It takes a lot of time. It consumes your efforts, your mind. But is it possible in the same time, if you'd like to establish a stable and to be really happy in your family life, is it possible to combine it? How actually you can at the same time fight and reach your goals in this business, to constant travel, and at the same time to be able to provide for your family, but to be present also. So it is a question that comes up in my life for the last few months from different people asking me, because lately we are doing some trainings with some young artists, some young managers, and this question actually comes every time to us as mentors or people from this business. And our goal today is to see if there is actually a recipe to this. Does this recipe exist? If everyone actually has its own recipe? And we can discuss this. And I will be happy after we discuss it, for you to be active if you have some of your own perspectives on this subject, just to be part of it, of this discussion. So I'd like to start a little bit focus on the problem, like being present in your family, being able to provide, but being a really active part in this business, and especially to be an active part in this business, especially coming from a region like ours, which if you want to be successful, you really need to be international. That means a lot of absence. So I'd really like to talk a little bit with my colleagues here on stage about what is the men's perspective, because I truly believe that the men's perspective and women's perspective, there are some crucial differences, especially when it comes to kids. So I'd like to present like my people here. It's Vasil.
Yeah, thank you. My name is Vasil, and I'm originally coming from here, but in the last almost 9 years I'm living in north of Norway in a small town called Tromsø. And I've been into culture business, let's say it like that, since I was like 18, 19. And I'm still into that, working currently in Tromsø as a general director of a student house, and on top of that 100% job, I am running 3 festivals, and on top of the job I'm having a family. I have a wife and a 5-year-old boy. So yeah, and I'm alive and kicking, and yeah, life is good.
Bravo. My name is Michal. I've been involved. I tried to do my first concert when I was 16 years old, and I can say the same. I was in the cultural sector from the early age. The early age means that was independent and subculture part of it, which made me later the concert promoter, which later led me to make a decision to switch to a public sector, where I've been for the last 14 years, which is way too long. And work for a government institution that is working in the music field, and it's supporting music industry and artists in first place. I don't have kids and I don't have family. And ask login. You know, my friends from Poland, who I've been booking since they started, and they were later my first project with Adam Mickiewicz Institute. When my first international trip with, they have a song, "I'm 40, I'm lonely, and I'm horny."
Hello, my name is Tineke. I'm not working that long in music business. I've been involved for a long time as a volunteer, and it's only 4 or 5 years I actually am working as an independent. I combine also lots of things. I had a full-time job, have a part-time job now. I have an Airbnb at my place. I work for a music festival. I work for a bookings agency and do several other projects aside. And I have a wonderful husband and a wonderful daughter of 10 years old.
It is you.
Hello, my name is Vladimir, coming from Maribor, Slovenia, director of a cultural center, producing several festivals. Third oldest person at this convention, only I think Oliver Lopet and Robert are older than I am. So I am father and I'm grandfather.
Nice. So I can say a few words to present myself. I'm Mila. I'm an artist. This is my education and what I was doing for 20 years of my life. Then I went to the dark side of this whole business. Yeah. So I started working in very big media and production house in running the talent management, international talent management department. So then I become an independent artist manager dealing with musicians and actors for 10 years of my life. Then I joined promoter business in organizing festivals and events. In the same time, I became part of the board of Bulgarian Music Association, which I'm representing today fully. It is the major organization in Bulgaria for the music performers from the different genres. We have more than 800 members, and we are very active in advocacy and in opening international scene for Bulgarian artists. We're working a lot. We are part of MOST project, so this is like what I do and continue to do all of it at the same time. I'm single, have no family. I have beautiful family, but not my own. So yes, this is who we are, different perspectives. And I'd like to start a little bit with the family guys here, from men points of view. What was actually the challenge? And be honest, sharing, how did you succeed to balance this, succeeding in this business, working in this business, and having balance at home, and a partner who actually accepts it, accepts your absence when necessary, accepts your risks when necessary, because let's be frank, to be able to succeed in this business, to be able to provide, you actually are in constant investment of money, of time, aiming, like going further and being able and more able to provide. But let's start it with Vasil. Can you tell us, how did you do it?
Well, I cannot say that it's balanced. It's like constant balancing. It's like you're every day thinking in a way that you need to do a balance in, and actually in whatsoever job you have, like especially in the Western countries, like you're working until 6, so like you're seeing your child like 2-3 hours maximum, and in a way I'm kind of lucky living in a country where the system works and there is a mutual understanding between the people. So I work until 5:30, and then I need to run to grab the kid from the kindergarten. It's just like that. Sorry. I need to do that. So you need to, in a way, accept that that I'm not available to work in these hours when I'm with the kid, because it's my decision that I'm gonna spend time with my kid. So you need to point out that this is happening, and the other side needs to find a way to accept it and respect it. And it's not an easy way to do it. And when I moved to Norway, I didn't have a job. And then my wife said, like, after 6 months, like, she said, okay, you need to find a job. Like, you need to work in a bar or in a restaurant, or find something and provide. And I was like, no, I can't do that. Like, I can't work just to work. I've been working into culture business for 15 years, and now I'm trying to establish myself in a new country, and I'm 35 years old, and I'm starting a new life, so please be patient. Like, you don't want me back home after 8 hours working in a bar. Like, you don't want that person in your house, because it's not healthy for me, it's not healthy for you, it's not healthy for our family. So what I learned through years, it's like, and what is helping, it's an open dialogue, like everyday dialogue. What's going on, and what are you doing, and what are your plans? Where you're traveling, how you're balancing that when you're away, finding babysitters, taking your kid with me. I'm like 2 weeks here in Macedonia with my 5 years old, and yeah, he is hanging here. He was yesterday here running all over, and it's also another thing, like not stopping living when the kid comes. Like, why do I need to change a job and work from 8 to 4, something completely different, and not be satisfied with myself? Because, like, let's face it, how many hours we are spending in our life working? Like, that's the work is not just bringing money. The work is doing something for yourself and for the others. So what's the point of wasting time just to earn money? Like, money comes and money goes. Like, and if you don't do something nice for you and for the others while you are earning money, there is no sense of doing it, if you ask me.
Okay, I have one question for you. Like you said that at some moment you talked to your wife and said you don't want me to be home after 8 hours of working in a bar. You need to be patient. How actually she processed it? How she accepted? Was it hard at the beginning?
Yeah, she didn't chew it at once, like, of course. But she talked with some friends of hers about the issue. Like, you have a guy that you married half a year ago, and he's living in your house. He's renting his apartment in Skopje, but that's nothing money-wise in Norway, and he's not contributing anything. But she talked with some friends from the culture business, and kind of calmed herself down that, okay, this is the thing that I should accept, because this is the guy who I married, and if he change his job, he's gonna probably change himself. And do I want that? and yeah, it's all about patience actually. In every case, and it's not the one way or one solution or one direction. But if you're like listening to the others and you're trying to like find a way to calm yourself and have an open dialogue, then I think like you're gonna find understanding.
And so it is actually true that you have found a smart person next to you.
Yeah,
be
I
honest.
can say that I've been lucky.
Yeah, nice. And what about you, Vladimir?
Well, what should I say? In this long career, I could say, I think in all of us, we are quite lucky people because the things which we are doing, it's not just the profession, it's something like a hobby. So it means that you are living that all the time, every minute of being aware, not sleeping. And of course, yes, it takes a lot of traveling and things like that. And it's not easy for the family to go through that, you know, because traveling, yes, but our travels are business travels. And of course, then the family wants us to travel with them. And they have to understand everything, and that we don't want to do things like that. So, and in the end of the day, it ended like that. I came from a trip, and there were, how to say, baggage in front of the door. I said, oh my God, we have to go to the seaside now? No, I was off. I had to leave the home. So that's how I divorced. And then I bought a penthouse in Maribor, and I thought that I'm so young and beautiful. Everybody loves me. I forgot that I'm the festival director, and this was the name of the game, you know, and being there and live the life fully. But I was missing something. Yes, I was missing my family, and after a few times I found out also, how could I say, that I developed some allergies. For example, could you imagine that when one of these was allergy on leather? Yes, really. Whenever I woke up with my shoes on, I had a terrible headache. That's how I lived, you see. You just came home, lay down in the morning and again and so on. And that's why, after 5 years, and of course we have been talking a lot about everything, I was missing my family, I married again. But the same wife.
Nice.
So the same wife. I'm one of the rare people who I don't know, divorced the younger one to marry the older one, but the same. And of course, they found out what is going on. I found out what is going on also. And we are trying to manage it, and we are doing quite okay. And now, having a granddaughter, it is worth it. We have very interesting profession, but how to handle it, there is no recipe. You have to think here, and it goes.
Okay. Wow. Probably when I'm thinking about men, and I've been talking a lot with a lot of my friends about this, like this balancing between providing, to be honest, it's not in our business only. Every entrepreneur has this issue. In our business, what is on top of all is that traveling is a very big part of it, and absence is a very big part of it. Even though there are people that are actually, we've been discussing just a few minutes ago, that it is possible to be at home and to be absent also. So yeah, that is also a possibility. But when it comes to this moment at being in this business, and you really make this decision that you are ready, you have met your person and you want to start family, from male perspective, of course, as I see, it's it is not a good decision, big decision. You probably suffer from this moment that you really, being a man, you'd like to provide, but at the same time, you understand that you are not present enough, and this is something that make you suffer and to have this, to feel guilty And but I want to change a little bit to the women perspective, because when it comes to the decision of having kids, for a woman it is physically different, and it requires some time off, because the kid, want it or not, even it is physically attached to you for some time, and you are physically attached to the kid. So I'd like to, for you as a person who've been through this, what was the challenge? Because you actually, even in the woman's body, the chemistry is different. So at some moment, even if you want to stay present and to continue work, you are totally not yourself at some moment. So what was the challenge for you?
The challenge is finding yourself. You're more than a mother in life. You're more than a wife in life. It's in Western civilization, we are lucky. We can be more free and stuff. But like with my parents, I had the discussion with my parents. What are you doing? You are traveling. You go abroad. You meet different men. He's gonna run away from you. Your child. My mother was at home all the time to take care of us. So for her, it was a really different side. The most challenging is your own mind. That's it. If you make up your mind and you know what makes you happy, then you just go for it. And of course, you need to talk to the people around you. But I had a terrible pregnancy, and one person told to me, because I couldn't breastfeed afterwards, and the person told to me, don't be too sad, it's not that bad. It's okay for your kid, she will grow up anyway. But if you as a mom are unhappy, your kid will be unhappy too. And it's the same for your husband. If you are unhappy, your husband is unhappy too. So it's just making up your mind what makes me happy and check in regularly. Is this what I want? Is this what I like? Actually, I'm more present at home since I'm an independent than when I was working. It's not, I do way more hours. I have periods, Vasil knows, where I am very absent, even if I'm at home. But yeah, it's like I can decide more that I'll take off at 4 o'clock and pick her up from school and spend 2-3 hours. And now she has schoolwork, so we do the schoolwork together and we go for a walk with the dog. I can decide that now. When I was in a regular job, I couldn't decide that. My boss asked for me, you have to be there from 8 till 6. And then when there was an event, I had to be there until 3 o'clock in the morning, but I had to be present again at 8 o'clock in the office. So I have more, it's planning, it's more me who decides. I'm more in control of what I want and how it works, so yeah.
Good. And did you, was there some time that you needed to stop due to pregnancy and to taking care of your kid as a baby?
I needed to stop when I was 6 months pregnant because I was in hospital laying down, and I was laying down until she was born. But I only stayed at home 1.5 months after I delivered her, because I was fed up of being there in a bed and just being like, having no conversations, like for real, only like the baby talk and and getting up at night and not having like a life outside of it. So I was at home sometime, and you know why you do it, and it's a beautiful present that you have a kid and you see her growing up. But again, there it's your own decision as a wife, as a mother. You decide for yourself what you want to do and how you're gonna do it.
Good. So yeah, even though we can make these decisions when it comes to priorities, at some point, having a healthy kid and being able for you to be healthy, so you can stop if it is required. And it is really good and really important what you said, because what I see around me, I have a lot of friends that in the moment they become mothers, the only thing they think they are mothers. Like, they stop being people, they stop being professionals, they stop care about these things. And for me, it's really weird because, of course, your life changed significantly. Because to be able for yourself to accept the role of a mother, that you are something else now, also. I know it is hard. I have been seeing it like with my closest friends, and I see how hard it is for them to accept it, how hard it is for them to accept that for some time you have a boss at home, like somebody it's everything is around this small person who requires even to survive everyday life. The kid needs you. But before going to this, my idea of psychology of constant travel when it comes to partnership, because this is something probably very specific, as I mentioned, for our business, which makes it a little bit different than most of the other entrepreneurship projects. But I'd like to pay attention to because on the stage you have also two single people. Yeah, you know. So I like to ask you, because then I say also what I think on this, but I haven't thought so far that my work actually has something to do. I just consider myself not being lucky until now to meet the right person. But do you think that your work and what you do has something to do with the fact that you're single?
I think it's more complex than this, really. And first of all, I think we shouldn't complain that much for the professional volume of our lives, because I don't know how it is about you, but my path was passion-driven. And at a certain moment, I had the dream job, because I was taking my dreams down to earth and materialize them, and that was my job. So hey, what's better than that, right? But there's also always a flip side of that coin, and the flip side is when you have a passion-driven job, you don't know when to stop, and you work like 20 hours a day, and you're receiving phone calls at 2 o'clock in the evening because someone wants to borrow a microphone from the venue next door or something. That's basically not the answer for your question, but I wanted to refer to,
of course,
what you said before. And I also think it's good to have more duties than your job. If you don't have kids, at least have a dog. At least, you should have, the other point in your life, because it's very healthy to turn off the plug and say to yourself, okay, maybe not 6 o'clock, maybe 9 o'clock, but this is the time when I'm not working. This is the time when I don't give a fly F about any other guys who want something from me, because this is my sacred time. And the more you can do it, it's better basically for your family and for you as well. What was the question?
What was the question? I asked that, do you think that, but you answer it somehow, yeah?
It's all connected, and
Yeah.
anytime I'm thinking about it, first of all, I think people who work in different sectors get the same problems pretty much. And if we talk about providing, it doesn't matter if you are a music promoter or you work at the bar or in the mine. You face pretty much similar problems, because if you come back home totally tired after 8 hours of work and then you want to disappear, it's not any different from you not being during a weekend or week because you're at the festival at the moment. You're not there, you're not connected. So we're not any different. And I think if I would just be an architect, because that would be obviously my second choice, I would probably face pretty much, similar thing, because it's a matter of personality and the personality issues and disorders as well. And I can say that especially after therapy, that I can't blame, my work or my passion, or especially because they were all my choices. Like I had a choice. I couldn't work in a corporation. Basically, that's why I'm doing what I'm doing. And so I don't know if I don't know how to get that question. But coming to the previous one, you asked about balance. The answer is no, I didn't. I didn't balance things. And in the first stage of my life, because I was so much actually involved in everything, that my partner was at a certain moment super upset on me, like I'm doing things in the evening. I never had a 9-to-5 job. So my natural response for that was, okay, I'm gonna take this government job. I'm gonna be now like noble citizen, not running the night venue in Warsaw where some artists want to have sex on stage and some of the audience wants to break a bottle on your head. And I took this job, and it never became 9-to-5 because I simply couldn't. I couldn't make it. I couldn't, implement this. It's 4 o'clock, I'm going home. I don't give a damn about it because I was still kind of involved in this job on the same level. I took the government job, but I took the job, it was still about music and about traveling. These were two things that were firing me the most in life, and I wanted to keep it. And it was like maybe 20% of the compromise comparing to my freelance jobs before, but the rest of it was going pretty much the same. And so it didn't bring any balance for me. Is it because the matter of my job? I think it has more to do with personality, to be honest.
Yeah, that's right. It's also, I don't think that my job has something to do with the fact I'm single in the moment. But what as a single person, I have some really interesting issue, because as you talk about balance, because balance is something that's independently of your family situation, is something that you actually have to look for and find for yourself. And because from some time, having this this information that actually is coming to us through all the channels everywhere, like we are so connected in the moment, we see and look success stories, even they are made up or not. You see like very successful, amazingly successful people with amazingly successful stories, and then with this really beautiful family, and they have it all, and even if it is real or not, there are some people like that. But you need to be real, what you're capable of. And you need to find your own balance. Somehow what we think, I don't know, somehow the business world is preaching to us is, I don't know when the workaholism became like something that you need to use to show off, because it is around me. And I don't think this is a good thing. I mean, it doesn't mean that you don't, because all of us, to do with this business, if you don't have the passion for it, you won't be doing it. Because there are risks and risks and risks, and a lot of ego tripping, and a lot of things that you need to deal with, a lot of uncertain situations, especially in our eastern part of the world. We lack infrastructure, we lack political support, and nobody cares for culture actually. So we have a lot of things to deal with. And if you are not driven by passion, well, we won't be in that business.
Yeah, but you persuaded yourself, I can see, that it doesn't go your job with something else. Why wouldn't you try?
No, I don't think that that's the situation.
That's what I heard in the way. You said, no, and we have a lot of work to do, and yes, you have to be dedicated, you have to do it with passion. Yes, but there
No,
is still
it is-
some room
No, I
for
totally.
private life.
I don't mean that. I mean that we are passion driven to have this job. So I'm not complaining on my job. And this is like something that he started as a subject. I don't think that this is my issue. And I don't think that I'll have a problem balancing. I probably will have some point, but I don't think that this is my issue. I wanted to say something else, which is interesting. Probably some of you could recognize it. Is that trying to find your own balance independently within a family or by yourself, it's really very important. And you need somehow people to respect your boundaries when it comes to, like you say, it's 9 o'clock my time. And from that moment, this is my secret.
No, it's not.
But you'd give it as an example.
It's just an example.
Yeah, but you know, everyone makes this decision for themselves. Some small decision in your daily life, like in some moment that you take your own time off. Even that's like for this half an hour, I won't be looking at my phone and my mails. I won't be answering. For me, it's very important. It's like I need a small break for me because I need to cool down. All the right decisions I'm making in my life is when I cool down. And when I say that I'm really I'm heating up, I really need to stop because I start making mistakes. This is how, you know, how I work, obviously. But what I wanted to say that at some point, working a lot like your colleagues and your associates and partners you work with, I have this issue, like when you're a single person and all of the people around you are with families and small kids, like you never get an understanding that you also have something important to do because like it is not picking the kid up from school, it is not something connected with it. And this is something that's actually I sometimes fight for, like, okay, what do you think? Yeah, I'm telling something because it's interesting for me. Like
it's interesting that you're saying that because I have the other feeling.
Okay.
That the persons without kids have no understanding for the persons with kids. So yeah, maybe we have a mutual misunderstanding.
Maybe yes.
I think it's about the people who are around you. I work, my colleague Thijs, he also has kids. We talk about it regularly, how we handle, how we cope. I also have in other jobs colleagues who don't have kids. We do the same. She says like, yeah, it's every time the same. I cannot do it because I have to go to kindergarten. I'm like, yeah, but you want maybe go to the bar or want to have some sports or watch a football game or doesn't matter. I think it's about speaking openly about it. If you have the feeling, just say it. You know, I feel misunderstood. I need some time too, and that's something we need to do more. Everybody just needs to say what they're thinking and feeling, and then it will be much better. It's the same in relationships, but it's also the same at work. So that's, I think, the most important thing.
Yeah, that's true. Like, we are again, for another time in this conversation, talking about communication. And this is actually because I write some things down to try to follow up. And actually my last sentence is what I've written about this panel is communication, because I went through all these things in my mind the last few weeks. Trying to turn back to because anyway, we are talking about family and balancing in the business. What are the biggest challenges when it comes for youth, when it comes to constant travel? So for you not being present, what do you meet from the other side? Do you meet sometimes, what do you deal with? Is there some jealousy, some suspicions, or just the situation with just the absence? Or what do you think about it? What is your experience with that?
No, I think it's all about good planning, actually. it's all about informing about the trip a good time in advance and not doing things ad hoc, like, okay, tomorrow I need to travel. If that's planned like a month, 2, 3 months ago, and it's in the calendar that you are away those 3, 4, 5 days, then with the time it's gonna be accepted because it's fucking happening. It is what it is. So, and I've personally canceled some travels because of family issues. Like my wife ended up in hospital, so of course I'm gonna cancel the trip. So, and that shows the priorities. That shows what's first. That shows that, yeah, your work is your passion, but when it comes to family, it's first things first. When it comes to health, it's first things first. So, and that is the thing that gives us more like strength and puts us even more together. But I think that traveling also gives back to the family, because if you're not traveling and if you're not home, then the family life is going to get bored. And do we want that? It's better that I'm away 3, 4 days and come back and I'm tired of the travel, but I have a lot of experience to share, a lot of ideas, a lot of thoughts, a lot of energy from the trip. So I think it's a good thing to travel and change scenarios, change places, and bring something back to the route where you living. And I think that it's healthy to travel. You got like stupid if you're just in one place, in one bar, and one area. Like there is no progress both for you and for the kids and for the wife or for the husband. So I think it's good to travel.
I think on my perspective, my partner sees that I come back happy, then he's happy too, you know. It's and it is what Vasil said, it's planning. It's I never quit my job as a mother. I'm always a mother, even if I'm here. The day I departed, my daughter got sick. She threw up, so I arranged there was somebody to take care of so that my husband could go to work. It's still my job to do that, but that's okay. That's how we do it. But
logistics.
Yeah, it's logistics. It's like organizing a festival, but inside the family. It's the same thing. It's just, yeah, you know, we talk a lot about it, who does what, and he cleans as well. He takes her to school. He cooks most of the time because I hate cooking, but you know, it's how we how we do it. Yeah, it's just planning ahead, planning and coming back. And he always says, when I work on the festival, he says, before sometimes he struggled with it, and now he says, like, when I see you in the festival, I see you at your happiest. I see you going around talking to people. Yeah, that gives him a good feeling too.
Okay, but come on, be frank. Have you had the experience of some, even though that I think that some healthy jealousy actually keeps the spark alive, have you met this issue? Like, be honest. Like in your partner, when you're absent, when you travel with some people. Like, have you met this problem in your life? Some kind of the problem with your partner?
Of course, it's a normal thing.
Let's be
a
little bit.
Of course, but as long as you talk about that, it's okay. like we're human beings, and it's normal that you meet other people in your life, and we're gonna meet other people in our lives. But as long as you talk about that and you face the challenges and you share them, then yeah. And the other thing is like finding a focus, like what's your priority, and what's on top of your on your list. And the other thing is like we are now talking about like balancing kind of family life, and then we're talking about planning and organizing, and often we can end up like we have our own family company actually, because we are talking about logistics, we are talking about planning, we are talking about picking up from school, kindergarten, and traveling. So it's kind of like company actually, and it can become that your partner is colleague in this family company and not a partner. So again, like I had like stops, like, okay, we need to find a weekend that we are going off and the kid is somewhere else and we have time for ourselves. And that can make this family company healthy, because like you're reflecting, okay, we need to have some time for ourselves so we can continue being partners and not just colleagues in this new company that we are started running suddenly.
But I brought my family with a lot of times. So when we had a conference, especially, I don't know, in an interesting place, so I said, okay, let's go together. And I spend my time on meetings or conference, and then we have spent some time together too. I remember while my girl, my daughter, she was, I don't know, at that time, 5, and I knew that I will have in a year or a half conference in Orlando. I said, okay, learn English and I will take you to Disney World. And it happened like that, you see, yes. Because our job, our business, is very interesting. And of course, my wife also has been traveling, but like a banker. Of course, conferences, they have conferences too. But they have boring conferences, and we have the conferences to live in. But the main thing was, and I stopped bringing my wife because she became more popular than I. My God, I said, no way, not anymore. Yeah, but it goes like
That's
that.
good. Yeah. It's well, because in the beginning I said that my idea is to try to see if there is some recipe actually, if it is one, if everybody has his own recipe. And I wanted to talk a little bit about, and I want you, Michal, to tell me, to say to us, like, do you think that one of the best options is to your partner to be actually your business partner also? Do you think that it can save it all, or it can ruin it all?
Guys, don't follow this way. No, the worst form of business I know is the family business. If you actually mix these two things, because you easily lose the border between what's private and what's professional. And your professional work always bring conflicts. That's the matter of the things. You are always arguing with people, having problems. If this person on the other side is your wife, this is the worst what can happen to me. I mean, the worst if you take your job problem home. And if you are partners in business, then it's constantly happening. And the other way around, you have this professional bond, professional relationship with your family, and you're having hard times on emotional level, and you take it from your private chamber to the business that you do with the same person. So it's really lose-lose kind of situation, maybe with some exceptions, but also, I met in my career, I met some examples of artists working with their parents as their managers. It's so toxic, like even if that works between them and like father or mother is providing good for the kid, like the mother of that relationship is unacceptable for the rest of the world because it's emotional and it's just not professional, so I wouldn't go this way pretty much. But I actually had that experience, to have another music professional at home, and the bright side of this thing was we actually been doing a lot of these trips together. Even if she was not invited as a delegate, she was coming with me, and we treated that as a part of vacations, because you can always find a few hours a day when you're not at work and you are in Korea now, or the other place that is just interesting and worth discovering, or you are here. Actually, we've been here 7 years ago, and my ex-partner was sitting in this chair because Login invited her to the panel for the very, very first time in her life. So she was sweating bullets here, like really. But the very next time she was on the panel, she was just brilliant. And ever since that moment, she was just brilliant as a panelist. But so this is the bright side. But the other side is, like, if you have your personal partner who is busy and focused and passion driven as much as you are, it's actually very hard to combine when you're both in a mood to get together. Because, I just finished my job, I got this sacred time that I can use for disconnecting from the rest of the world and be the home man, and she's still working because she's still having tons of emails and tons of things to, and that was constantly happening. Like, we couldn't match, so we basically end up having a group therapy together, like trying to work on the quality time in our lives. But we were actually missing each other pretty much, and it was getting worse and worse with time.
Yeah, to be honest, I have in my life, it's not me, it's a colleague and a friend of mine. That's probably the perfect example for exactly the opposite, being a manager of your husband, and it works very well. So I would like to go a little bit to the wrap up of this session. And what I see, listen to, so like that everybody has his own recipe, right? But I really believe that every recipe is based on communication, as we talk, and this communication needs to be on regular basis. Because if in the beginning of your decision to build a family with somebody, you decide, do you accept each other's job, absence specifics, or whatever the problem might be, and this is okay for your partner, in 6 months or a year, it is possible to change, or your partner to actually understand that it's not okay for him or her. So I think the only thing we can wrap up as what is there a recipe or not, is just to communicate on relatively basis, to continue, to be updated if everything is okay, if it is working, if it is not. And then another thing I'd like to say is that it's very important to be real with yourself. It's like not everything you see around you you can do it the same way. So You need to be real with you. Can you do these things both? How you can prioritize? It's not what you see in other people. You need to be to know yourself, and because the only mission we are born with is to be happy. We want to be happy. So probably I think this is the major goal with everything we do. Is this so? In the moment you see you are not happy with whatever you do or your family life, you just need to just stop and realize where you're at.
Even if there is a recipe, you have to know how to cook. Yes.
That's true, and there are many cuisines, many tastes, and yeah. So thank you so much for this, for opening up, because this is a private matters, and here on these conferences we usually talk about a little bit different things, and I'm really happy that we had this conversation. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.